How's it going, everybody? I know it's been a long time since y'all actually seen a video from me. Don't worry, I've been working very hard over the past 4 or 5 years. I think we all have, especially during that whole that whole crisis situation in 2020 and so on. I don't even think it started to get a little bit easier until what? I don't know, 2022. That's when we started really getting on the, leaving everything behind. But I just thought I'd make a video just to see how everybody's doing. And, just to let y'all know how I'm doing and what I plan to do, I guess, later on, down the line in the future. The last video I did was pretty much I was cleaning out a house because, like I said in my last video 4 or 5 years ago now, I was looking to break into the real estate business, which I did. And I started out with my first house, cleaned that out. I think I pretty much put like close to 100 grand into that house. You see, I mean, it can still use some work and whatnot, but pretty much it's habitable. There's no issues. The outside could use a little bit more cosmetic work, but it's still habitable. People can live in there. And as of right now, I'm on my second set of tenants right now. My first tenants, yeah, they got on my nerve. They got on my freak. Luckily, I didn't have to deal with them directly personally. I hired a property management company to actually take care of that for me. But they still got on my nerve. Because it seemed like every freaking month, it was always something. It was like I was happy when I was able to go 1 month without hearing anything. It was like a sigh of relief. Because these people, it didn't matter what it was. It could have been something small. And sometimes it's stuff that they caused themselves. These people, when they moved in, they tried to move their luggage into the attic. I don't know why they wanted to move their luggage into the attic. There was a shed right there in the backyard with nothing in it. They could have just put their luggage in the shed and everything would have been fine. But no, they wanted to try to put the luggage in the attic, and then they misstepped. And one of them had their foot fall through the ceiling. So I had to get in touch with a friend of mine, have him go over there, assess the damages, and go ahead and fix that for me, which I forgot how much it cost. I think it was, I don't know, I think it was like 200 or maybe 300 bucks. But nonetheless, they got on my nerves. And I was happy when they actually moved out, because I was hoping they was not going to renew, because it just seems like those was just a set of tenants that they just didn't feel like paying the amount of money that they was paying. And yes, it was an exorbitant amount of money that they was paying. They was paying for the space and the location, and pretty much just a nice house, which I was charging at that point in time. I was charging $3,000 a month. It was a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, upstairs and downstairs. Nice neighborhood. They're still upgrading the neighborhood and everything like that, so it's becoming a whole lot nicer. It's pretty much, maybe like a 20-25 minute walk to the downtown area if you wanted to walk. If you drove, pretty much just 5 minutes. And plus, everybody else that was around that was renting out houses, they was charging, some was charging more than me. There was people that was charging about $4,000. Some was trying to charge $5,000. And of course there was some that was, only charging about, $1,500 and $1,800. But those were houses that was only 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, stuff like that. So I think, and those that was under 3,000, yeah, they most likely already got snatched up. And that was around the time the market was actually hot. I mean, it was hot. So I guess you could say I took advantage of that too and had it up there for 3,000. So it was good, but they got on my nerves. A lot of that money went towards making repairs and everything because they just kept screwing things up. I had to pay about what, 16, I think it was 16 or 1,800 to fix a bust pipe because some roots pretty much penetrated the pipe and, you know, it busted and everything. So I had to pay for that. What else? And it was a few other things that had to be taken care of. So nonetheless, I wasn't able to, I guess, reap all the benefits of, you know, bringing in all that cash flow, because I could have used that for a down payment for another house, which eventually I did get another house 2 years later. I bought another house 2 years later. But unfortunately, a year after I bought that house, I ended up selling it because a legal issue came up, and I really couldn't, you know, afford to actually hang on to it for much longer. So I had to pretty much go ahead and put it up for sale. Luckily, I was able to sell it for $30,000 more than what I bought it for. So I still say it was a nice swap, nice deal. The house, it was going for $155. That's when I bought it. And it was a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom in an up and coming area. Pretty much construction was going crazy in the area. I mean, they started building more. They was building like a Wawa. Let me see what they were just starting to build a whole lot more stuff in the area. So it was a hot area, and it's still hot now. Unfortunately, I'm kind of very disappointed I had to let that house go, because if I bought it for $155, by the time the area got done with all its construction and everything like that, the value of the house most likely would have went up to, of course, you know, 200 or so. Luckily, I was able to force it at 180. But if I would have held on to it just for the sake of me holding on to the house, the value of the house would have went up quite a bit. So unfortunately, I had to let that house go. But throughout this whole time, of course, I was still driving trucks because I was like, hey, why stop driving trucks now? Why not just continue to drive trucks, get that extra money coming in, got this money from the rentals, put all that money together, and eventually, you know, just continue to acquire more properties. And then eventually I would be able to slowly, if not, who am I kidding? I'll probably still be driving trucks. I just won't be as dependent on it. Put it like that. So I'll still be driving trucks, but I would be looking more towards gaining more skills outside of the trucking business. Like right now, I'm looking into getting certified in what they call it, becoming a heavy equipment operator. The guys that, you know, work on construction machinery, like the bulldozers, the cranes, things of that matter. And the classes, from what I've seen online, the classes, you could do them one at a time if you want, and each class is just $1,000, you know, $9.99, which I don't know why they just don't add the extra dollar on there, just say 1,000, but hey, it's $1,000 a class. So all together, and I think all the classes that they were offering added up to about 5,000. So $5,000 to learn how to operate 5 different types of machinery. That doesn't seem bad to me. And then also, as I don't know much about the construction business, but I believe, as much as I'm aware of, they go by projects. So you might have a project, you might get contracted to a project that might last about 3 months or something, maybe 2 months or so, depending on how big the project is. But then after that project is finished, you might have, 2 months of doing nothing. It just depends. It just depends on how busy the industry is at that point. But, you might be on for 3 months with a project, but then you might be off for like a month, maybe 2 months, until your next project comes. And I thought about that, and I was like, hey, that seems like, something that I would be interested in. Because let's say I wanted to take a break from trucking, but I still wanted to work, but I wanted to actually work on something totally different. I could do that, work on a project for about 2-3 months or so, and then in the off time, I can, travel a whole lot more. Or I could use that extra time to find other skills that I can quickly just jump into right then and there. Now, I haven't really come across any other skills that you could possibly jump into that easy. Of course, there's some more out there. I just haven't thought of them yet, or actually looked into them. But that is something that I actually plan on working next. But also, I do want to actually go back to school as well, since I do actually want to, obtain a bachelor's degree, maybe more, depending on, how things go. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to go for an economics degree or a sociology degree. And I heard there was a degree that actually combines both of those. I forgot what it was called. I don't want to missay it, but there is I guess classes or so, or maybe it's the degree itself, that it combines economics and sociology. And I wouldn't mind actually getting that, just for the sake of having it. And I know there'll probably be some people that, say, why would you want to get that? I mean, that does not seem like that would help you with any career or anything like that. I know it's just something that, I want to obtain. I'm more of a skills person. I'm more of a trade person. Something that I can, jump into, quick like. Like if one industry is doing good, it's like, hey, I'm already certified for that industry. Let me jump into that. Oh, trucking's getting a whole lot better. Okay, well, shit, I'm already certified for that. Let me jump into that. That way I always have something that I can jump into. I'm never, just sitting around doing nothing. Unless I decide, hey, let me go ahead and try getting this YouTube thing, on and popping and whatnot. Because it seems like that's what everybody's doing these days. Everybody wants to have a podcast. Not everybody should have a podcast. Not everybody is smart. I'm not smart. But I do have some creative ideas. And that's one thing that I've learned when it comes to business. You got to be creative. Nothing is linear. You have to be creative. You have to mix things up. So, eventually, hopefully by next year, I'm gonna do something. Well, I'm gonna start doing something a little differently. Cause I still plan on, doing a whole lot of traveling. Hopefully a whole lot more traveling. Since I was able to get my passport about 2 years ago, because somebody, oh my goodness, that freaking sun. Um, eh. Yeah, I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think none of that's gonna help. Yeah, sorry, y'all. That sun's. I don't know what the sun's doing. But yeah, 2 years ago, because person who I was dating, 2 years ago, she kind of forced me to get my passport. I don't know why she wanted me to get my passport so bad. But hey, I was like, you know what, screw it. Since I was able to get a passport, let me go ahead and get a passport. And I got the passport, but these people never sent me my birth certificate back. I had to go get me a whole new birth certificate. And I didn't like that. Because that was my actual original birth certificate. I mean, I have copies of the original and everything. But that was the original, the OG. And these people, they did not send it back. They're supposed to send it back, but they ain't never sent it back. If they did send it back, it got lost in translation. They got lost in the mail somewhere. So that kind of sucked. But hopefully next year I'm gonna do things a little tiny bit differently. The company that I'm with, I mean, they're nice. I mean, they're not really, my cup of tea. But it is what it is. I'm using it for the sake of working. And then eventually next year, I'm gonna go ahead and hop on the road, but I'm gonna do it differently. Instead of me going online and applying for, the companies outright, I'm gonna jump on the road personally. I'm gonna get in my car. Of course I'm gonna look up, companies that I'm interested in working for. That way I know where their headquarters is at. And I'm gonna drive to their headquarters personally. Get a feel for the area, get a feel for the surroundings, see if I like the headquarters, see if I like the city, see if I like the environment, what's around. Could I see myself living in this area permanently? Because I don't want to continue to live where I'm at now. I really don't. I want to move somewhere else. Preferably out of the state that I'm in. If I have to move somewhere else in my state, then fine, so be it. But I want to move somewhere else, preferably another state. And I see this as my chance to really, I see this as my chance to actually really do that. So I'm gonna go to these companies' headquarters personally, like I said, get a feel for the area, see if I like it. Like, let's say if I go to Dallas or something, be in the area for about 2-3 days, see if I like it. Then I'll just move on to the next one. Say the next one is in, I don't know, Nashville, Tennessee. Drive to Nashville, Tennessee. Of course, while going there, I'm gonna be making pit stops in other, towns and areas, to, enjoy myself, enjoy the drive, enjoy the traveling, eat at a whole lot of different restaurants, maybe, bring y'all along with me for the ride. I think that'll be something that, I think y'all might like. Y'all might just like that. Maybe while I'm driving, pretty much, just live stream the entire time. Hopefully my phone's battery can actually, last that long. I might have to constantly keep it on the charger while I'm doing that. But I think that would be interesting. That way y'all could see me in action, making a ride cross country, multiple states, multiple capitals, just enjoying myself. And then eventually I'll tally everything up. I'll decide what company that I actually want to go with, and then I'll just return to that area and then start working from there. And then once I start working, if I do decide I want to travel again, this time it's going to be out of the country. I'll be traveling to other countries. Because, I mean, once been to pretty much all the hot spots in one country. I mean, yeah, you can always go back to them every once in a while, but it gets kind of boring after a while. And it's a big old world out there, and I think I want to see more of it. So that's my plans for next year, thinking long term. And then hopefully by that time, I've actually acquired, you know, another house. Because the house that I have, unfortunately, the second pair of tenants, they're actually leaving at the end of this month. Unfortunately, you know, they're heading back to Mexico because they don't want to risk being deported. So they're just going to preemptively go ahead and make that move back to Mexico. Which is sad because they've been in the house for a year and I haven't heard any problems from them. Not one whatsoever. And I was loving it. Now, although to get them in, I did kind of have to drop the price from $3,000 down to $2,300 because I was going through a situation around that time, and it was like I needed somebody, you know, in that house like as soon as possible. So I went ahead and dropped it from $3,000 to $2,300. Now that they're leaving, I could try to put it back up there, maybe crank it up to maybe about $2,700, but I think I'm gonna leave it at $2,300 for now, because I know it's getting really hard out there. It's getting really hard out there from what the internet's saying and from what I've actually been noticing myself out here. So I'm gonna leave it at $2,300, and we'll see what happens with that. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there for now. I maybe forgot to mention, you know, a few things and everything, but hey, I'm just getting back. Can't put everything all in one video. Consider subscribing. In the description, there's a link. You can actually follow me on other social medias. And if you want to, become a member. Become a member at Momentum Legacy if you like. The link is also in the description. Just, follow the link in the description. And you can also contact me through there as well. Actually, you can get in touch with me on whatever social media you like. They're all down there to me. But it's actually glad to be back. I might be a little rusty when it comes to YouTube. Sometimes it took a lot just to actually make this video, because I was like, man, what am I going to talk about? I mean, is there really anything to talk about? I mean, I'm kind of just, you know, just cruising through life right now. But I'm actually glad. I'm actually glad to be back. Hopefully y'all are glad to hear from me again. And those of you that have actually been subscribed this entire time, I thank you. And thank you to everybody who will be subscribing in the future. And as I said, consider becoming a membership at Momentum Legacy through the link in the description. We're only allowing 3,100 actual members. So, you know, take a look at it, see if you're interested. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.